allegiance to the
the
flag
flag
of the United States of
United
America,
States of
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ask for a moment of silence for some town workers that are working very long hours. Those are our highway workers and our parks workers. Those who are cleaning the streets. This storm has left so much damage. And these guys are out, guys and gals are out, working 12, 14 hours a day. The highway superintendent estimates it's going to be the rest of August before this is cleaned up. It's huge. Every street usually have piles and piles of stuff.
It's almost 1,000 trees down.
Actually, 1,600.
Okay, well,
1,600 down, 400 which were involved with wires that we had to wait an inordinate amount of time to get PSE&G to turn off so we could take down the trees and restore and let them get in there, restore power. But with that, let's offer a silent thanks for all those who work. I know they get paid, but this is a tough job, and we thank them for what they're doing, cleaning our streets.
Yeah, I didn't have, you know what? Your date of birth.
Thank you. And with that, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Councilwoman, well, let me remind everybody should mute because I'm hearing background noise already in one of the offices. Councilwoman Cartwright.
Present.
Councilwoman Bonner.
present.
Councilman Lavelle.
Present.
Councilman Lagurcio.
Yep.
Councilman Foley.
Here.
Councilman Panico.
Here.
Supervisor Romaine.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We have one report to the board.
I have a report, a revenue for the town clerk's office for the month of July in the amount of $87,122.96. May I have a motion to accept this report item?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have the communications consensus agenda that has 2 items on it.
Yes, may I have a motion to accept the communication consensus agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have the highway consensus agenda that has 2 items on it.
Oh, yes, 2 items also. May I have a motion to accept the highway consensus agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have the consensus resolution agenda. And who is
Yes.
heading that?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. I move resolutions 2020 C-0224 through 2020 C-0264.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, now we go to our resolution agenda. Do we, but
Yes, and the,
before we go, do we have anyone that from the public that wants to speak? Not on public hearings, but just from the public? I can't hear you.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Supervisor, I'll check on that.
Thank you.
Let me see. I'm just, looks like Tom Stock is on
Okay.
regarding
Tom's a
agenda.
resident of
but that-
Babylon, but he certainly is free to speak.
Let me see. It's something about item number 5, but let me just see which one he's
is that a public hearing or 5 or?
5. It says dumping costs, so I don't know what he's talking about. That's not item number 5, it's number 6, but let's just, we're checking it out now.
Okay, well, maybe we'll do the resolution.
what I can just do now, Mr. Supervisor, if I may, my technical staff is asking me to announce that anyone who is on participating, please indicate if you're here on a public hearing and the number of the public hearing, because that helps us put
And the
you,
one you just mentioned is for public hearings.
number 6, it would be, not 5, I think.
Right, but we don't have anyone just to speak.
No, it doesn't look like that.
Okay, so I wanted to check on that before we did the resolutions, in case anyone wanted to chime in on anything. But let's go with the resolutions, and we'll start with Valerie.
Thank you, Supervisor. Resolution 2020-0433, a resolution to amend contract number 201-60023, landscaping services for South Setauket Park. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay,
Kevin?
Kevin?
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution 434, amend Resolution 2020-0337, operating budget transfer for Highway Department to increase the budget for recharge basin and maintenance. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
435 of 20 is authorizing the declaration of decommissioned vehicles as surplus to be sold at town auction. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 436 of 2020, authorizing the Commissioner of Housing and Services to apply for, execute, and submit the 2020 grant application to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for the funding of full-time family self-sufficiency coordinator. So,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 437, 2020, amend Resolution 431 of 2020, awarding the bid number 20031 entitled Refuge Removal at Various Town Locations. So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
438 of 20 is authorization to enter into a lease agreement with the town of Brookhaven and Sitech Wireless Towers, LLC, for a leasing of approximately 3,900 square feet of property of the town of Brookhaven's Colorado Airport, Shirley, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 439 of 2020, authorizing the execution of consent judgment between the town of Brookhaven and the United States Environmental Protection Agency.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved.
Mr. LaGracia, all those in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 440 of 2020, authorization for settlement of acquisition of property for highway purposes, Munsell Road, Road Improvement District, owner EWN Property Management LLC. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 441 of 2020, determination of the premises at 1645 Montauk Highway in Bellport, New York 11713, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report, Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti, LLC, and setting a public hearing by which the owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be heard on October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 442 of 2020, secret negative declaration authorization for settlement of acquisition of property located on Middle Country Road, Middle Island, for drainage purposes. Owner is Michael Olson. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 443 of 2020, authorization for settlement of acquisition of property located on Middle Country Road, Middle Island, for drainage purposes. Owner Michael Olson. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 444 of 2020, setting a public hearing on the application of L2G Holdings LLC for a change of zone from L Industrial 1 and J Business 2 to L Industrial 1 on property located on Commercial Boulevard in Medford, New York. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held on September 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 445, setting a public hearing on the application of Westfield Center for a change of zone from A Residence 1 and J Business 2 to J Business 2 on property located on Middle Country Road in Selden, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That public hearing will be held on September 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM.
447 of 20 is authorization for
Dan.
acceptance.
No,
I got to do 446, bud.
yeah,
Very
446.
sorry, Neil.
He's anxious today. He's ready.
Resolution 446, 2020, authorizing the supervisor, or deputy supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreements between the town of Brookhaven and the village of Polqua and Shoreham to accept storm debris at the Brookhaven landfill related to tropical storm Isaias. So moved.
I'll
You said
second
that well,
that.
Neil. You said that well, Neil. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now 447 of 20 is authorization for acceptance of donation of land from American Homeowner Preservation Trust. This is 86 Huguenot Drive, Mastic Beach, for open space purposes. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
448 of 20 is consent to abandon certain town-owned paper streets. These include portions of Riviera Drive, Violet Road, and Walnut Road in Mastic Beach. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
449 of 20 is authorization for acquisition of land in the town of Brookhaven for property located in Mastic Beach, New York, and these are 2 tax lots. So moved. And the owner is Woods. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 450 of 2020, authorization for the settlement of the acquisition of property located at 6 Frank Street, East Patchogue, for open space purposes. The owner is Gunnar Christian Cortez. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
451 of 20 is determination of the premises at 19 Overlook Drive, Mastic, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti, LLC, and setting a public hearing by which the owner or the persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
452 of 20 is ratification of the agreement between the town of Brookhaven and Brookhaven Town White Collar Unit, Suffolk Local CSEA Incorporated. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0453 is the termination of the premises at 53 Glenmere Lane, Quorum, New York. 11727 Suffolk County tax map numbers are provided. To be unsafe is defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti, LLC, and setting a public hearing by which the owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same.
Second.
That public hearing will be held October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
454 of 20 is setting a public hearing to consider enacting an introductory local law, adding Chapter 21 of the Code of the Town of Brookhaven entitled Sewer Use. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
455 of 20 is authorizing an extension of a contract with the Vehicle Tracking Solutions Incorporated. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 456 of 2020, amending the January 16, 2020 Resolution 2020-0087, authorizing attendance and administrative leave for William Demarest, Senior Bay Constable, Division of Harbors and Waterways, to attend the Marine Law Enforcement course and Marine Patrol Vessel Operations course in Lake George, New York, which was rescheduled due to COVID-19. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 457 of 2020, authorization to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Incorporated Village of Port Jefferson for scanning electronic records and storing them on the Town of Brookhaven server. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 458 of 2020, setting a public hearing on the application of 43 Jane LLC for a change of zone from J Business 2 and B Residence 1 to J Business 4 on property located on Jane Boulevard in Port Jefferson Station, New York. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held September 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 459 of 2020, setting a public hearing on the application of MNR Stony Brook Incorporated for an amendment of restrictive covenants on property located on New York State Route 112 in Port Jefferson Station, New York. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held September 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0460 is 2020 various operating budget reductions in response to COVID-19 pandemic. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 461 of 2020, authorize the Commissioner of Finance to amend the 2020 adopted capital budget to establish a new project for the Percy Rayner ball field improvements to be funded through a budget neutral transfer. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0462 is amending resolutions numbers 2020-0362 and 2020-0372, both entitled Authorized Commissioner of Finance to amend the 2020 capital budget for various capital budget reductions and capital project deferments in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
463 of 20 is setting a public hearing to amend Chapter 85 entitled Zoning, Article 7 entitled Town Board Amendments, Section 8581 entitled Application Requirements of the Code of the Town of Brookhaven. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that ends our resolution agenda. Do we have to set dates, Madam Clerk?
No, we do not, sir.
Okay, so then we really have no other business but the public hearings. Unfortunately, the public hearings have been advertised for 5:30, which will be in 11 minutes. So what we will do is we will take a hiatus. We will come back at 5:30, and we will conduct the public hearings.
Before we go off air for 10 minutes, I would just like to remind the public, our technical staff and the attorneys are trying to ask you if you want to speak on hearings. If you're just here to observe, can you let them know that also, because no one's responding to them? Thank you.
Okay. So we will be back at 5:30, which is now in 10 minutes, and we will start the public hearing, starting with public hearing number 1. We're going to start with public hearing number 1. I'll let the clerk open that first public hearing.
Yes. Public hearing number 1, to consider an acquisition of property for open space purposes, 6 Frank Street, East Patchogue. This hearing had been adjourned from the June 18th meeting, and I understand we're going to adjourn to August 27th. I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adjourn to August 27th, 2020 at 2:30 PM.
Okay.
Public hearing number 2 is to consider the application known as 1680 North Ocean LLC for a change of zone from J Business 5, L Industrial 1, and A Residence 1 to J Business 5 and special permits on property located in Holtzville, New York. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. A secret negative determination will be submitted by the law department via resolution if applicable. I am in receipt of a letter from Suffolk County Planning Commission determining it to be a matter of local determination. And I am also in receipt of letters from the Medford Taxpayers and Civic Association and Tower Fasteners expressing concerns. The applicant was required to post the property as well as notify all property owners within a 500-foot radius of the subject property, and my office is in receipt of the affidavits of mailing and posting. The Suffolk County Planning letter is dated June 11th, 2020. That's interesting. It's addressed to Mr. Zanzano. Pursuant to Section 231 L and M of the General Municipal Law, the following special permit, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter for local determination as there appears to be no significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. And signed very truly yours, Andrew P. Freeling, dated June 11, 2020. I don't remember if I said that or not. I don't know why it was addressed to Joe. Maybe Joe will know. That's what I have for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
My video is paused.
Oh.
Right now.
It's okay.
Start. There we go. I'm going to share my screen. And this is, okay. This site is located along the west side of North Ocean Avenue, CR 83, north of Long Island Avenue in Holtzville. The parcel is 0.59 acres and is currently occupied with an existing motor vehicle fueling station with an attendant kiosk. The site enjoys a certificate of occupancy that was issued in 1981. The subject site is currently split zoned J5 Business, L1 Industrial, and A1 Residential since 1971. It appears that due to possible roadway taking, a portion of the site along County Road 83 was excluded and left residentially zoned. The taking never occurred and has left the site split zone today. The applicant now seeks a change of zone application to J5 Business in order to make the site whole again and conform to zoning. The applicant also seeks a special use permit in J5 Business Zone for a motor vehicle fueling station and a special permit for accessory convenience store. The proposed concept plan shows a motor vehicle fueling station with pump islands, canopy, along with a new 1,500 square foot building for an accessory convenience store, along with associated site improvements. Access to the site is via 2 curb cuts along North Ocean Avenue that are currently provided. North Ocean Avenue is a divided highway. Waivers from the special permit criteria are required. Variances may also be required at the time of site plan review. The 1996 comp plan recommends this area for industrial use. With that, I will turn it over to the applicant for their comments.
Thank you, Mr. Sanzano. Good evening. This is David Altman from the Law Office of Brown and Altman, LLP, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301, Melville, New York. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. And I just want to thank you for advancing us on the calendar tonight. I have another hearing following this. So I think Mr. Sanzano's summary of the application encapsulated the issues on this site rather succinctly. This site has become a bit of a hodgepodge from a zoning perspective as a result of the plan taking, which never occurred. As he notes, historically, this site has been used for a gas station for the better part of 50 years. Redevelopments having occurred in, I believe, 81 and then later on in 92. As a result, we have mixed zoning of Res A1, J Business 5, and L1 Industrial. The applicant seeks to rezone the site in its entirety to J Business 5, commensurate with the gasoline service station use and the proposed accessory convenience store in order to be consistent with the town's current zoning scheme for gasoline service station uses. If you, Joe, if you could pull up the aerial for a second, I think the aerial photo, that's pretty helpful just to take a quick peek at. Thanks, Joe. So if you look at the aerial, that's rather telling as to both the character of the area and sort of, frankly, the isolation of this site. Due south, west, and north, we have the Jesus is Lord church facility, which followed several years later the gasoline service station. I think the C of O that we have of record is dated 83, so some 12 years after a gas station use was initially permitted on the site. But as you can see, you have the church and church parking lot bounding the site to the south. You also have additional church parking facilities, rather extensive, both to the west and the north. So this site is self-contained in terms of its neighbor to the west, north, and south. In addition, North Ocean Avenue, proximate to this site, is a divided roadway with traffic being southbound here. You have 2 lanes southbound, a dedicated left turn, and then a dedicated right turn lane. It's a signalized intersection approximately 100 feet south of Long Island Avenue. The character of the area, particularly to the west, north, and south, is commercial. In fact, on the south side of Long Island Avenue at the southwest corner, you have the LIPA power station. You have vacant land due north, which is zoned L1. And then you have the fastener company north of that. Across the street to the northeast is a Suffolk County sump on the northeast corner of Robinson and North Ocean Ave. And then you have a single family home, which is directly across at the southeast corner rather, of Robinson and North Ocean Avenue. The applicant is proposing to leave the existing canopy in place. There are 4 fueling pumps underneath, which are multi-product dispensers accessible from both sides. If you look at the site plan, both on the 4 outside pumps, we propose to keep those. They're in the middle of the canopy underneath. There are 2 single-sided fuel dispensers and a small 140 square foot attendant kiosk. We're going to be removing those and replacing those with 2 new dual-sided MPDs. So we'll have a total of 12 fueling positions. The site at the southwest corner, you see the home plate style convenience store, which is 1,500 square feet in area, commensurate with town regs. The proposed retail area is slightly above at approximately 856 square feet, where 750 is permitted. There are a few waivers as they relate to buffers. I think certain of them are self-evident and in part created as a result of the failure to move forward with the taking many years ago along North Ocean Avenue. In addition, we do seek a waiver for proximity to the church, which abuts us on all sides. These waivers that are requested by the applicant have been granted by this board in the past with regard to other applications. And I will simply mention that on, I believe it was August 6th, we submitted copies of a number of cases with demonstrative precedent as well as a chart. And I would ask the board to refer to that chart. it's certainly helpful to show that similar relief has been granted by this board on other applications. Finally, I'll note for the record that I did receive proposed covenants and restrictions from Mr. Sanzano the other day. I've reviewed them with the applicant, and we have no objection to them. I believe this application is consistent with the nature and character of the area. The use having been established, like I said, for the better part of 50 years. And the accessory convenience store, as this board knows, has become part and parcel of the gasoline service station industry these days, and is a logical adjunct to the gas station as provided for under town code. I do have with me, hopefully, on tonight's Zoom meeting, Chris Tartaglia from High Point Engineering. He's the project civil engineer. If you have any questions of him. I also have with me Andrew Valari from Stonefield Engineering. They are our traffic consultants, and in fact, the report prepared by Stonefield was submitted to the board in connection with this application, showing minimal or nominal increase in traffic. I believe John Breslin should be with us as well, if John is there. I'm not sure, I don't see him. But we also submitted a real estate report from John, which shows no adverse impact in connection with the proposed project. If there are any questions from the board, we'd be happy to answer them.
Before we start, can I swear the gentleman in, so in the event that they're going to speak? Would you three please raise your, four of you, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Yes.
And you, sir, Mr. Engelbert?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, are there any questions from board members? No questions
Joe.
from board members?
I have one question, Mr. Supervisor. Joe, it's a small parcel. It's 0.59. I see that the applicant seeks to construct 1,500 square feet. Am I correct?
That's correct.
And is that the maximum allowed without a variance by the town code?
That is correct. Yes, that is the maximum town code offers. That the board recently did a code amendment to increase that, and with that increase comes Pine Barrens credits.
Okay. And how much of the 1,500 is retail space?
I believe it's 800 and change.
850, Dan, it's 856.
And what's the rest of the space used for?
It will be storage, cooler space, I believe bathrooms, cash register. Chris, if there's anything else you want to add, feel free.
That's correct, Dave. You hit it on the nose.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions?
Joe, just a quick question, because we're working on some stuff on County Road 83. The entrance and exit, it shows that there's there's an entrance and then there's a separate exit. Is the county going to go along with that as far as the way they have it set up?
That's an existing curb cut, and it's already been permitted by the county.
Okay, okay.
And they had no further comments when we did send to them.
I know, but they've resisted on some occasions with some of that, but if it's existing, then that'll move right along.
That's correct.
Okay, other comments? No other comments?
Yeah, well,
Don Subit is here.
right. How you doing there, guys?
The Medford Civic Association,
Right.
even though the gas station is technically in Holtzville.
Technically, if you throw the rock, you know where you. I
Mr.
know.
Subit,
Yeah,
if you
right.
would please raise your right hand.
I
Do you
will
swear
raise
to
my.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Just I sent a.
I'm going, just so that you know, Mr. Subit, I'm going to set my timer, so you won't see it, but I will be letting you know when your time is expired.
Okay. I sent my letter over to you, and I hope you guys have all reviewed it. We have concerns, and probably the critical one, I think, whether maybe Joe doesn't maybe quite agree, is I would not like to see any perpetuation of commercial development along the on the North Ocean Avenue corridor there. Okay, nobody wanted that gas station when it went in, and it had problem with leaking into the water table, and the gas tanks were in water table as as told by the public, okay? And in the past, contrary, on the east side, people have come in for where that one house went up, thankfully. That doesn't mean that house might want to not stay there anymore and have a change of zone on that property on the southeast corner of Robinson and others around there. It's, you know, you're supposed to be 500 feet from a church, you know, and it's in the church, you know. So, and if you ride through and drive through the gas station, and you'd certainly want to see the people be competitive and get in there, like I said in the letter, but it's very difficult. And the size of the Amico on the corner of North Ocean and 63, that convenience store is smaller. And here you're going to add that amount of square footage and not compensate. And now it looks like you're adding a couple more of the fueling stations, of the pumps. Okay, so I think whether it's how the hours of operation, some consideration should be to that, and different things that they might sell, and also people hanging out there we wouldn't like to see either. So that's why certain things, if you read in the letter, ought to be included. And like I said, that is part of the Patchogue River. Just go to the exit 63 sump and you can go fishing in it. And that was in water there. And same with the DOT and the other. So I think we should be cognizant of that fact. Okay, and anything you could do, we would like to see the guy do it right, but we don't want to see, it's like a lot of baloney in a small package. It's going to be tough, and you can park outside on North Ocean and go into and you could go into the convenience store. And you have to do something about that, the parking there also. And you wouldn't want anything to interfere with the churches and any comments the church might have in now or in the future. Thank you. What happened there, Donnie? You just turn it off?
Yep, that's it, you're done. Yeah, I mean,
Done.
if you're done, I mean, your
Very-
timer is still going,
Anyhow,
but
Merry Christmas to all of you. Hope you're all healthy.
Take care.
Thank you.
If somebody would be so kind as to send us a copy of that letter, I'd like to see it since it was not
We
sent
just
to us.
received it this afternoon.
Okay, so we appreciate if we could have it
it'll
forwarded
be
to us. But
circulated. Yeah.
I'll address a couple of comments, if I may, made by Mr. Subert with regard to proliferation of commercial development. This is an existing site, and as Mr. Sanzano noted, has been a gas station for 50 years. And as I mentioned, this site precedes its neighboring church facility by the better part of approximately 12 years and surrounds us. So we're not changing the pattern of development whatsoever as it relates to the area. And I think Mr. Breslin's report, which this board has already been provided with, definitively and affirmatively establishes that fact. With regard to any comment concerning leaking tanks, there are no problems at this site that I am aware of. This is a clean site. The tanks were recently replaced, and we propose to leave them in place. Again, it precedes the church. To the extent we need the waiver from this board due to proximity to the church, frankly, the church built around us after the fact. So again, we're seeking a waiver for a condition that was not created by the applicant. The rest of the comments, I don't think need to be addressed, as it just concerns general concerns related to the area itself.
Can I ask a question? Hello?
Sure.
The tanks in the ground, aren't they tested by DEC?
Chris, you want to address that?
Yes, Supervisor Romaine. They're under Suffolk County Health Department jurisdiction, but as David indicated, they're in full compliance. There's no evidence of any leaks. They are double wall fiberglass, latest and greatest technology. So we're not aware of any proof to that allegation that there are leaks. I'm not aware of that at all.
Thank you. I received the letter, but I didn't receive any backup information from Mr. Subin. And I've often found as supervisor, people who don't want to see something will make an allegation without the appropriate backup. So I would say if Mr. Subin's still listening, please send me whatever backup you have on that.
Yeah, again, as far as we know, we have no record of any leaks or any open items with DEC, Mr. Supervisor. There's nothing to substantiate that.
Thank you. Anything else? Does a board member want to make a motion to close this?
Supervisor, I will make a motion to close public hearing number 2.
I'm sorry, who was that second?
Second, that was me.
I'm just going to point out the covenant talks about an attractive appearance on all 4 sides. A home plate has 5 sides. I'm just going to point that out.
Thank you, Councilman Panico. You are
I
correct.
just want to point that out. If you read it, just want to keep you honest.
Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Public hearing number 2, I have a secret negative declaration granting the application of 1680 North Ocean LLC for a change of zone from J Business 5, A Residence 1, and L Industrial 1 to J Business 5, a special permit for a motor vehicle fueling station, special permit for a convenience store accessory to a motor vehicle fueling station, and waivers of a special permit criteria on property located on North Ocean Avenue in Holtzville, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have a resolution of adoption for public hearing number 2, granting the application of 1680 North Ocean LLC for a change of zone from J Business 5, A Residential 1, and L Industrial 1 to J Business 5, special permit for a motor vehicle fueling station, special permit for a convenience store accessory to a motor vehicle fueling station, and waivers of a special permit criteria on property located on North Ocean Avenue in Holtzville, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to public
Thank
hearing.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Enjoy,
Bye.
David. We're on to public hearing number 3.
Public hearing number 3 is to consider the application known as McDonald's Corporation, Stony Brook, for a change of zone from J Business 2 and B Residence to J Business 5 and a special permit on property located in Stony Brook, New York. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Secret negative determination will be submitted by the law department via resolution if applicable. I am in receipt of a letter from Suffolk County Planning Commission determining it to be a matter of local determination. I'm also in receipt of a letter from the Three Village Civic Association with comments, and just to note that the applicant was required to post the property as well as notify all property owners within a 500-foot radius of the subject property. In my office is in receipt of the affidavits of mailing and posting. A letter from Suffolk County Planning is dated May 14, 2020. Dear Ms. Lamb, pursuant to the requirements of sections A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter for local determination as there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. The decision of local determination should not be construed as either an approval or disapproval. Signed, very truly yours, Andrew P. Freeling.
Okay.
Okay, good evening Supervisor Romaine and the honorable members of this board.
Can I start first, if you don't mind?
All right, Joe.
That's okay. I'm just going to give a brief summary, and then we'll turn it over to you guys.
Okay, great.
This site is located along the north side of Route 347, west of Stony Brook Road in Stony Brook. The subject parcel is 1.88 acres and is currently occupied with an existing major restaurant with drive-through. That's a McDonald's, and it's also approved with landscaping and other site improvements. The site enjoys a certificate of occupancy that was issued in 1971. The subject property is currently zoned J2 Business and B Residential. Similar to the last application, this was because of a possible roadway taking that never occurred, leaving the frontage of the property residentially zoned. In 2003, in addition, in 2003, the code has changed and now requires that all major restaurants with the drive-through be established in a J5 business district with a special use permit from the town board. The applicant currently seeks to change the zone to J5 business and also seeks a special use permit for the major restaurant with the drive-through. And there's their concept plan. I can get there. There we go. Shows a McDonald's restaurant with a double drive-through, access to Route 347, as it exists pretty much today. Proposed change of zone and special use permit would bring the site back into zoning compliance. Waivers from the special permit criteria are required, and there may be variances at the time of site plan review. The 96 comprehensive plan recommends this site for a commercial use. With that, I will turn it over to the applicant for their comments.
Good evening, Supervisor Romaine and the honorable members of this board. I'm Matthew Ingber from Brown and Altman, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301, Melville, New York. And as Mr. Sanzano just mentioned, we're here for McDonald's application for a change of zone and a special use permit and special use permit waivers in order to raise and rebuild this restaurant and add a new side-by-side drive-through with the queuing capacity for 17 cars. And at the onset, I'd like to thank you for hearing this application, and all mailings and postings was performed in according to the town code. So, this property has been used as a McDonald's restaurant for nearly 40 years. As Mr. Sanzano mentioned, there's a certificate of occupancy with the town dating from 1971. Tonight, McDonald's requests town board relief to develop the property with an updated building and a side-by-side drive-through using modern digital menu boards. And the copy of the site plan was previously showed by Mr. Sanzano. And as part of the development, the new restaurant will be 4,298 square feet. In addition, the applicant will be removing the outdoor dining area that is currently situated in the front of the building. And our office discussed this application with the Three Village Civic Association, and they reviewed the site plan and the proposed architecture. The letter of support was sent to the town by email dated August 7th, 2020. And also submitted to the town was a following precedent that was that's in further support of this application for change of zones, special use permits, and special use permit waivers. And with that, I'll leave it to the board if they have any questions about this application. And with us tonight is Jared Jones, our project engineer. We have our traffic engineer, and Patrick Blees from Core States, who is the project architect.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members?
I have no questions, but I would like Joe to please just go over the restrictive covenants here.
Certainly. So we had recommended that there's an intensification fee that's required. That the use of the site be limited to a major restaurant exclusively with the drive-through, and that the landscape front yard is 40 feet, and also a supplemented rear yard buffer of 100 feet.
Thank you so much. I looked at the paperwork that's attached to this public hearing, and I specifically made a request to Joe to tighten up the language with respect to covenant number 2 to state that it's exclusive use for a major restaurant with or without a drive-through. And he said that he would make that proper change before we vote. So I just wanted to identify that particular issue. I did receive a letter from the Civic Association. Originally, they were in opposition, but after being in constant communication with with our planning department as well as with the applicants, they have given us a letter of no objection, but they do ask the applicant to stay in touch with them as it relates to the planning process.
Could I please just say,
amended, Councilwoman?
Thank you.
Supervisor, you had said something, but you were cutting out. so I don't think we'll have it on the transcript. Could you repeat what it was that you
Yeah, I
said?
was asking the intensification fee, I think is a little bit more than 35,000, Joe.
That's correct, and it's half of the 19,000 due at the onset of the change of zone, if the board should grant this. And then there's another 19,900 due at the time of site plan.
Thank you. Okay. Other questions? No other questions? Do we have any speakers on this? Annette, do we have any speakers on this?
Sorry, I was muted, Mr. Supervisor. No speakers.
No speakers. I'll make a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Okay,
Okay, I have a motion with respect to the secret negative declaration, granting the application of McDonald's at Stony Brook for a change of zone from J Business 2 and B Residence zoning districts to J Business 5 zoning district, and town board special permit for proposed major restaurant with accessory drive-through on property located on New York State Route 347, also known as Wisconsin Highway in Stony Brook, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And next resolution is granting the application of McDonald's at Stony Brook for a change of zone from J Business 2 and B Residence zoning districts to J Business 5 zoning district and town board special permit for proposed major restaurant with accessory drive-through on property located on New York State Route 347, also known as Wisconsin Highway in Stony Brook, New York, as amended. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
okay, we're on to the next public hearing. Public hearing 4.
Okay. Public hearing number 4 is to consider the application known as McDonald's Corporation, Miller Place, for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5, and a special permit on property located in Miller Place, New York. This was previously opened on July 16, 2020. My office is in receipt of the affidavits of revised mailing and revised posting from the applicant.
Okay. And Joe, would you explain a little bit about this application?
Certainly, Mr. Supervisor. Okay. Today we have this application before us. It is located along the south side of New York State Route 25A, west of Miller Place Road in Miller Place. The subject parcel is 1.49 acres and is currently occupied with an existing McDonald's restaurant, major restaurant with accessory drive-through facility, landscaping, and other site improvements. The site has enjoyed a certificate of occupancies that was issued in 1991. The project site is currently zoned J2 business. In 2003, town code was changed to require that all major restaurants with drive-through facility be located in a J5 business district with special use permits from the town board. The applicant currently seeks a change of zone to J5 business. Applicant also seeks a special use permit for a major restaurant with drive-through facility. The concept plan shows a McDonald's restaurant with a drive-through facility, access to Miller Place Road and Route 25. The proposed change of zone
25A.
would bring the site back into zoning compliance. Waivers from the criteria are required. Variances may also be required at the time of site plan review. The site does fall within the Route 25A Miller Place Hamlet Center Overlay District, which recommends this site as heavy commercial, which also defines that as uses consistent with the J5 business district, including fast food restaurants. Should also be noted that the cross access that is recommended is considered to the adjacent commercial properties to the east and west, and not to be made any connections to any residential properties to the south. With that, I will turn it over to the applicant for their comments.
Joe, I just want to, before the applicant speaks, just confirming that McDonald's is not expanding. Not growing, not becoming bigger or larger, or increasing their footprint?
Councilwoman, they have a 1.5 acre site. I don't know that they would need much more than that
Okay.
normally. So
I know that from the last town board meeting, there was some confusion with some residents, so I just
they're
want to
expanding
put
to
it on the
the
record.
northwest.
And,
Thank you, Joseph.
For the record, McDonald's is actually decreasing the size of the building by 100 square feet to make it more ADA compliant.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, good evening Supervisor Romaine and the honorable members of the board. Matthew Ingber from Brown and Altman, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301 West, Melville, New York. And I'm here tonight for a McDonald's application to redevelop the existing McDonald's restaurant and add a tandem drive-through for the property located at 340 Route 25A in Miller Place. And for the record, we met with the Miller Place Civic Association and they are not opposed to the application. An email from the Miller Place Civic Association approving the plans and the elevations was sent by the Civics on June 19th, 2020. And as Mr. Sanzano mentioned in his introduction, this property has been used as a McDonald's for nearly 30 years, since 1991. And is currently improved with a single lane drive-through that we're going to modernize and turn it into a tandem drive-through. So McDonald's is requesting town board relief for a change of zone, special use permit and special use permit waivers in order to make these improvements and bring the site back into zoning compliance into the J5 zoning district. In respect to the special use permit waivers, we're seeking a waiver for the minimum required landscaping for the front yard and a waiver for the minimum queuing spaces where we're depicting 10 spaces and the town code requires 12. Prior to the hearing, we submitted precedent by this board that supports this application, many of which were prior McDonald's approvals. And with me tonight is the project engineer, the traffic engineer, and the project architect who are available to answer any questions that the board or the public may have. So with that, I'll let the board ask any questions on the application.
Thank you, Lisa.
Swear them in first, or what do you think? You swear to tell the truth? So you're an attorney. I didn't realize that before. I'm sorry, you don't need to do that. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I do.
So if the board or the public have any questions, I'm here and my three experts are here to address any questions.
I don't have any. And I spoke.
Questions from the board at all? Anyone? No questions? And no speakers? Is there a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Wait, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman.
Okay. Do you have a question, Valerie?
No, it's before the applicants come off after you move forward with this vote. I just want to make a statement.
Okay. Secret negative declaration granting the application of McDonald's at Miller Place for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5. A special permit to operate a major restaurant with an accessory drive-through and waivers of special permit criteria on property located on New York State Route 25A in Miller Place, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have a resolution of adoption granting the application of McDonald's at Miller Place for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5. Special permit for a major restaurant with accessory drive-through and waivers of special permit criteria on property located on New York State Route 25A in Miller Place, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve carries.
Okay, so I just asked Town Attorney Ed Arresto if we could just address, I believe there was a constituent from Strathmore Gate that had a question on the prior hearing. And she had her hand up, but I believe Lee Raitt is trying to address her issue. I just don't want the applicants to leave if I have to possibly reopen the hearing if there's a question that can't be answered.
Okay, they've been trying to communicate with her since before the hearing started, since 5 p.m., and trying to ask her what hearing she was here on. And we're having a very hard time communicating, but Lee is trying to answer her question now.
Okay, I think, given the fact that we are in a situation where not everyone knows how to use Zoom and, they're getting accustomed to this, if there is someone that's part of an adjoining property, which is Strathmore Gate, they should have an opportunity to be able to ask any questions. And apparently this did not become an issue until the next hearing opened.
There is the question must be related to the 100-foot buffer, which is covenanted in your approval to remain natural, because Strathmore Gate is to the northwest, right?
That's correct. Yes,
Yeah, that's
and
what
we
it must be.
indicated that to her.
The problem is she's not responding to any of our chats. She's just saying question. She's not saying what hearing it is. So I don't know how you're communicating with her, but she's not responding to my attorneys.
Okay.
So we're trying everything we can. But if she doesn't answer, we can't help
I
her.
think we can, normally we would have just brought her on so we can have her speak and ask the question, correct? If she was commenting on the public hearing.
So she had
telling us what hearing she wanted to comment on.
It's on this.
She had a question at 6:03. Jen answered. She said she had a question from Strathmore Gate. What is your question at 6:04? Then at 6:06, she said questions about adjoining property. So she's obviously able to.
Yes, Strathmore Gate is immediately adjoining my the property that we just dealt with respect to McDonald's, public hearing number 3. So I don't want to move forward if she had a question. Yes. So can we bring her on to find out if she's not typing, if she can let us know what the question is?
We're letting her in.
Annette, let me ask you, please, because we've already closed the public hearing. I've taken a vote on all 3.
I understand, but let's just see if she has a question that doesn't need to be part of the record. Otherwise, you're going to have to reopen 3.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I no longer see her on. Maybe after they told her that the hearing was closed, she removed herself.
No, she's on.
Oh, she's on? Okay.
SGBOD?
Yes.
Yes, she's there. Something about. We want to check
Is there a
PON.
call-in number that you can send to that?
PON. You want to check.
I'm seeing we want to check PON from her. What is that, PON?
This is what we've been getting the whole time, so I can't help you. I don't know how to say her name. Just spell it. SGBOD. Do you wish to speak?
Do you want to go back and open it and leave it open for written comment for 15 days, Valerie?
How is that fair to the applicant? I'm just saying.
I don't know. I mean, we obviously have a resident that.
Okay, here's what I'm going to request.
As the councilwoman, concerned that she's not getting her question answered.
How many more hearings do we have? I don't have that open in front of me.
2.
We have
2 more.
3 more hearings after this one.
Hold on one second. It's 100-foot buffer. We're not going to make more than 100-foot buffer. Okay. Does she want to speak, Lee?
Maybe Jennifer can call her?
She's on and she's listening right now, and she's not speaking, but she had a question about the 100-foot buffer. So I'll answer the question. The 100-foot buffer is covenanted. Not only will it remain natural, it has to be supplemented.
So the applicant will add additional buffering on the
If
business.
necessary, and they'll do that at time of site plan approval.
Okay.
Okay.
May I clarify? I mean, the existing buffer now is, well, the buffer is being expanded to over 200 feet. I think she may be concerned that we're moving closer. We're actually moving it farther away from her development. So I hope that clarifies it for her.
So this is what I'm going to ask. We have, what, 4 people that are here representing the applicant. I'd like to move forward with the rest of the hearings. If you guys can stay on, please. I mean, we can put you back in the attendees just in case we need to reopen. I don't want you to have to ever come back on another day if not necessary. So let's just address this evening. So while we move forward with the next 2 hearings, we can push the applicant representatives out. Oh, there she goes. She just left.
We want to check on the buffer to Strathmore, and that the applicant just addressed it. They're increasing.
Okay,
the buffer.
I can answer it. What does supplemented mean? And Joe, she's asking if it will include fencing and shrubs. So it will include evergreens, which are, I guess she's calling shrubs. Will it include fencing, Joe?
Yes, typically we will require fencing around commercial property. And by supplemental plantings, usually that's an evergreen tree. It's 7 foot high, 5 foot planted in between. So it's a pretty significant supplemental buffer.
Okay, I think we've answered her question.
Thank you. And if you can please type in there the phone number that she can reach the law department or the applicant if she has additional questions, I would appreciate that so she can have that.
Jen will do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's go back to where we're at.
Hearing number 5.
Hearing number 5, please.
Public hearing number 5 is to consider the application known as McDonald's Corporation, Rocky Point, for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5 and a special permit on property located in Rocky Point, New York. My office is in receipt of the affidavits of revised mailing and revised posting from the applicant, as this had previously been opened on July 16, 2020. Mr. Sanzano, I guess you can do an overview.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay. This application is located along the north side of New York State Route 25A, 1,724 feet east of Halleck Landing Road in Rocky Point. The parcel is 1.033 acres, and it's currently occupied within a McDonald's restaurant, major restaurant with a drive-through, and associated landscaping and other site improvements. The site enjoys a certificate of occupancy that was issued in 1974. The site is currently zoned J2 business. In 2003, town code changed, which required that all major restaurants with a drive-through facility be located in a J5 business district. The applicant currently seeks a J5 business district, along with a special use permit for a major restaurant for a drive-through facility. Applicant's conceptual plan shows a major restaurant with drive-through facility, associated parking and landscaping. The proposed change of zone would bring the site back into zoning compliance. Waivers from the special permit criteria are required. Variances may also be required at the time of site plan review. The subject site falls within the Route 25A Transition Overlay District. The Route 25A Land Use Plan classifies this area for limited business. which it also defines as consistent with the J5 business district, including fast food restaurants. So with that, I will turn it over to the applicant for their comments.
Good evening, Supervisor Romaine and the honorable members of the town board. Matthew Ingber from Brown and Altman, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301 West, Melville, New York. And I am here tonight for a McDonald's change of zone and special use permit application to make a 454 square foot expansion to the rear of the restaurant to make additional space for a freezer and to make ADA improvements to the property and install new digital menu boards to service the drive-thru. By way of background, the property is currently improved with a McDonald's restaurant with a single lane drive-thru, and the property has been used as a McDonald's restaurant since circa 1974. And in addition to the change of zone and special use permit application, the applicant is also seeking special use permit waivers, one for the minimum landscape buffer and the other for the percentage of natural landscape area on the property. We note that on March 3rd, 2020, we met with the Rocky Point Civic Association and we obtained a letter in support of the proposed building and the architecture by letter dated June 16th, 2020. Prior to the hearing, we submitted town board precedent in support of this application, showing prior cases where the town granted change of zone, special use permits, and special use permit waivers. With that, I asked if the board, if you have any questions, I have my project engineer, my traffic engineer, and the project architect who are available to answer questions from the board or members of the public.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
No, I just want to say that one of the covenants, if we decide to adopt this, is that the landscaping treatment in the front, the westerly and southerly front yard stays intact. There's some nice mature landscaping you have there. And the community and the councilwoman that lives in the community would like to see that landscaping stay intact.
Jane, is this where you get your chicken nuggets?
I do have an unsweetened iced tea problem. I have nothing against McDonald's. I just don't eat it. Sorry. So if there are no questions from my colleagues, is there anything in the queue? Any questions from residents?
No, there are no participants for this.
All right, then I make a motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion closed, carries.
So I have a secret negative declaration granting the application of McDonald's at Rocky Point for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5, a special permit to operate a major restaurant with accessory drive-through, and waivers of special permit criteria on property located on New York State Route 25A, Rocky Point, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I have a resolution of adoption granting the application of McDonald's at Rocky Point for a change of zone from J Business 2 to J Business 5, special permit to operate a major restaurant with accessory drive-through and waivers of special permit criteria on property located on New York State Route 25A and Rocky Point, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, we're on to the next one, which is number 6, public hearing number 6.
Public hearing number 6 to audit and determine the amount of cleanup costs and expenses incurred by the town of Brookhaven and to impose liens enforceable through tax levies against each subject property for the full cleanup cost and expenses. Legal notices, public hearings, or public hearing audits are published for legal compliance no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to the public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper, and should the board render decision tonight, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Okay, we're going to have Annette explain a little bit about this.
Thank you, Supervisor. This hearing is in regard to 3 parcels that are located in our Manorville Farm Protection Area. This matter was initiated by my office, Town of Brookhaven versus John W. Doziak, Bennett S. Doziak, JD Materials Trucking, Inc., et al. And those individuals, we had alleged in that enforcement action, had brought fill in massive amounts onto the 3 farms. Pursuant to that enforcement action, the town obtained a judgment directing the owners of the property to remove the fill from the property. They had a time certain to do that, which was, I believe, September of 2019. When they did not do that, the town filed a motion for contempt, civil contempt, and they added Lisa Doziak as an additional defendant at that time because she had been placed on one of the deeds. The court enforcement action, thereupon, the judge issued a supplemental order and judgment, and that was dated August 8th, 2019, and it authorized the town to conduct a cleanup at the 3 subject premises. And so those premises are 191 South Street, Manorville, 293 South Street, Manorville, and the North Doziak Farm, which is also in Manorville, but it's north of exit 69 on the Long Island Expressway. Thereafter, the town bid the work out to a contractor to remove the material and bring said material to the Brookhaven landfill. The material was tested. It was not appropriate soils to be placed on these properties, and that's why we obtained these orders from the Supreme Court. Thereafter, the Brookhaven Town Commissioner of Department of Recycling and Sustainable Materials Management, and the town attorney calculated and determined and certified the actual cleanup costs incurred by the town of Brookhaven to clean up these properties. And in accordance with the August 8th supplemental order and judgment, the following cleanup costs are being assessed. And in that order, we also asked the judge to put a lien on the tax bills. The cleanup costs and expenses for 191 South Street, Manorville, are $177,691.87. The cleanup costs and expenses for 293 South Street, Manorville, are $1,072,658.56. And the cleanup costs and expenses for the North Doziak Farm are $917,565.30. And pursuant to law, a public hearing is being set to give due process to the owners to weigh in on these liens before they're levied on the tax bills. And that's all I have. I'd answer any questions from the board. And we do have 2 speakers on this hearing.
Okay. Let's hear from the speakers first.
Okay, Jen, will you let the speakers in, please? Okay, the
So
speakers
I
are
see,
in.
Hello?
Hello.
Do you see them? There.
I see,
One is Tom Stock.
and
Yes.
the other is Zach.
Zachary
Okay, so
Riaz.
if you will, please both just raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you. So we're going to take, I don't know who came in first, but you're first, Zachary. So I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to time you. You will have 5 minutes, and you won't see the timer, but I will, and I will stop you when your time is expired, unless you stop yourself before. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you. Zachary Riaz, PC. My Zachary Riaz for Lisa Doziak. Good evening, Supervisor and the honorable members of the board. My client is Lisa Doziak. She has an interest in 191 South Street, Manorville, New York. Lisa and John are in the process of getting a divorce. and have been for a few years, but they finally settled their case and they are going to be divorced soon. The property, 191 South Street, has always been controlled by John Doziak, and my client has not been able to control or what has happened on that property. At this point where we understand that there is a cleanup cost of $177,000, and we're asking the town board to impose any liens associated with the cleanup against John Doziak's interest in the subject property.
Does the board want me to address that?
Yes.
Basically, what the court order says is that this will be assessed against the tax bill. So when the tax bill comes out in December, it'll not only have the taxes that are for the farm itself, but this special assessment will be there on the tax bill. So it actually attaches to the real property, not to an individual.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker, Mr.
Mr.
Stock.
Stock?
Yeah, my name is Thomas Stock from the Office of Victor A. Carr and Associates, and we represent John Doziak and Bennett Doziak with respect to the action which resulted in this hearing today, and the judge's order which resulted in this hearing today. I just want to recite for the record, first, my client's objection to the hearing and to the findings of the town with respect to the cleanup costs, in that they are not in accordance with the court order and consist, at least partially, of opinions and estimates which are not appropriate. I would further indicate that with respect to Mr. Riaz's request, he's basically asking the town board to take the place of Judge Kreka, who I understand is the Supreme Court judge on the matrimonial, in terms of the dispute between Lisa Doziak and John Doziak. And although I am not involved in the matrimonial in any way, he's represented by other counsel in that. As it affects the proceeding in Supreme Court relative to these cleanup costs, I would object to the town board taking any action in that direction. I would further recite that, for the record, that my clients, having once been victimized by the people who brought these materials to the property under false pretenses, now are of the opinion, for what it's worth, that they're being victimized by the town. And I have nothing further.
Mr. Supervisor, I would just like to add that these are not estimates. These are not guesstimates. These are hard facts. We have all the tonnage, the tipping fees. The contract was bid pursuant to 103 of the general municipal law, and the town awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. Those are real costs that the town incurred. The court order also allowed for our environmental group, FPM, to bill their costs, and our engineer to bill his costs, which were very nominal for the engineer. So again, this was a court order. We followed all the requirements of the court order, and I'd ask the board to vote to place this lien on these properties, these liens on these properties.
Thank you. I would urge Mr. Doziak's attorney to take up the issues he raised with the court itself. Although they've already ruled on it, if he has any complaints about that, he should take it up with the court.
The question is whether or not the town board's action is in compliance with the court order, sir, with all due respect.
And
That's
with all due respect,
you will have the opportunity to go to court if you believe it is not, and petition the court. We believe it is in accordance with the court. and we are moving forthwith. And at that, unless there's other questions, I'm going to move to close this public hearing. Other questions? No other questions? I move to close the public hearing.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Foley, that was you?
Yes.
You're so quick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
I have a resolution of adoption for public hearing number 6 to audit and determine the amount of cleanup costs and expenses incurred by the town of Brookhaven and to impose liens enforceable through the tax levy against each subject property for the full cleanup costs and expenses. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to the last public hearing number 7.
Public hearing number 7, determination of the premises located at 38 Parkside Avenue, Miller Place, New York. This had been previously opened on June 6, 2019, and I will take a motion to adjourn this public hearing to October 1st, 2020 at 2:30 p.m.
I make that motion.
It's been made by the supervisor. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that ends all of the agenda work that we have for this meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be at work tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Aye.
Good night.